Hello, Floss Tube World! Welcome to another episode of Bristol Blue. Thank you for joining me. I don't remember which episode this is. 22, maybe? I'll look. There'll be some sort of thing in there to correct me. Anyway, welcome. And welcome to my new subscribers. It's so exciting. So I am a cross stitcher, and we're going to talk about what I've been working on for the past 3 weeks. First, I also have an Etsy shop where I make project bags and other home decor things and sewing room decor things and stitching things. So stay tuned for that. That'll do my Etsy shop and then my quilting. So if you're not interested in either of those, there'll be a definite breaking point where you can go and watch other floss tubers. There's so many out there to watch, and I've seen quite a few this week who have inspired me, as well as quilters. So let's get started. It has been 3 weeks since my last video, so it hasn't been 6 weeks and it hasn't been a month. And so it should be a little shorter this time around. Behind me, this is my logo quilt. I call it my logo quilt because it is my absolute favorite antique quilt that I have purchased. And as you can see, some of the blocks are a little off kilter, pointing in the wrong direction and things like that. So that's what I love about this quilt. And so I am now sitting in front of it, and I'll probably continue to do that going forward. So let's get started on the first cross stitch project that I have been working on since my last video, and that is the Reverend Gourdon Squashbottom. And this is a Not Forgotten Farm project. He is such a darling man. I started this on October 28th of last year. It is stitched on 40 count Confederate gray with all of the call for weeks die works in DMC. And this is where I am with him. I was trying to get the Reverend done. He is coming along nicely. I did stitch on this for 3 days. And then I got some supplies for another project, which is next. But the Reverend, he is coming along. Got his jacket and his pants. I had to go get some of the color for his face, so I didn't get that done. For somehow, some way, I didn't have that thread, so I had to go make a purchase. So that is the Reverend. I love the Reverend. And he is being housed in this little bag now that I have. And I made, it's kind of just a little zipper pouch, but I am using it. It works perfectly. It's the perfect size for this size project to put in this bag. It's the perfect. Got my threads in there, my charts. Oh, works out really well. I like it. And I have an update and I have a new one in my shop, so go check that out. I don't have a place to lay all that stuff. All right, next. So this next one is Worn American Flag. And this is a Stitching Jules design. And this is an all over, which was my very first one. And so I had to do a little research on how to do this. And I did some practice stitches on some regular linen. And I did go out and get some Aida. And I have tried that. So let's show you where I am with that. I got 18 count antique white. And this is where I am with that. Didn't get very far, and I don't have one of the threads. So there's like one hole in there. So I am working through this process of doing, can you see all the different colors? There's lots of colors in there. I'm going to tell you I'm not 100%, I don't want to say thrilled with it because I am excited about this project. I'm just not sure I like it like this. I think I want to do it on linen, but I'm going to continue doing this 10 rows by 10 across at a time, because this gets a little hairy with the changing of the threads in a very small space. So it's something I'm going to have to get used to, and it might just grow on me. And this one here I've got in this project bag. It's just out of ticking. And I took one of the American flags and just applicated onto the front of this. So I'm going to put my project back in the bag so I have a little less cleanup to do when I'm done here. Just a little bit. So get that in this bag. And then the next few that I worked on for several days in a row, because they're just those types of projects where you just don't want to put them down. I can't put them down. I'm just like glued to them. And when I have to stop stitching to go to work or something else, I get so upset. I really do. All right, so Teresa Kogut, the Halloween sampler. I was working on this at the last video, and I continued working on it for a little bit longer. This is stitched on Winter Brew by R&R, and it is another 40 count fabric. And I'm using all the DMC that is noted on there. And this is where I am, where I had left off before I had done part of the boo here. So I did this and this and this young lady. So this is so much fun, you guys. I adore stitching on this one. All the different motifs, and they're just the right size where you can get it done in a day, or, you know, in a day and a half, 2 days. So I'm just tickled with this one. I think it is just the most adorable little thing. All the different motifs are just so cute, and the colors are wonderful to work with. So I'm really enjoying this one. And I am stitching, or I'm putting this one in my vinyl bag. This is a Halloween vinyl bag that I've got here. And I've made them all myself. All right. So we'll put this one back in its bag. But yeah, I think I stitched on this one for seven days, not including the days up into my last video. So it's one I just can't put down. All right, so now I put a little post up on YouTube, not that up about a week ago, that I have been working on a massive sampler, and I made a boo-boo, and I had to frog out a lot of stitches, and I did that in a day and restarted. But that project is Jane Hopkins, Hands Across the Sea. And she's gorgeous. I ripped it out and even did and restitched everything and then some. So here she is today. So I had to take this little motif out of here. So that was what caused all of the troubles, because I started from that motif and counted down, and that put me in the wrong place. So when I started filling in some of the greenery in here, I was so off. I was off like half a stitch, and it just made a complete disaster of everything. So I had to rip all of this out, and all of this floral stuff that I had started, and I was starting to put some of this greenery in here. And so I took it all out, redid it. It's now 100% accurate. Everything from here to here. These are not in the right place, but they are not going to cause any issues with anything else. But I may rip those out and redo those too at the time that I decide that this little booger over here that caused all my troubles, he's on timeout, by the way. I may rip these out and do them over too. So not really sure yet, but she is just beautiful. I love this one. This was so much fun. I couldn't put this down either. I stitched on her for about 7 days as well. 6 days actually. And she is stitched on, what is she stitched on? I started this on July 25th of last year, and it is stitched on 36 count Ticonderoga by Needle and Flax, and I'm using all of the DMC conversion on the back of the chart. And that is a lot of thread. It's a lot. And she is housed in this massive, monstrous bag. I took a quilt block that I had made. It's just a orphan block. Cut off this part and put a zipper in there and made a bag out of her. And here's the inside. So she's a little massive, and I'd like to make another one, just a little bit smaller, change the size of the block a little bit. So I'm looking forward to getting back to her. I'm not sure when I'll be doing that, but hopefully soon. All right. And I did stop exactly at the end of the page. I'm a little nervous about that. My history with that isn't also the greatest, but I'm extremely confident, though, that my stitching is perfect, count-wise and everything. So I'm nervous, but I'm not scared. If that makes any sense. So the next project I worked on, and I was working on this one this morning, and I wanted to get quite a bit of this done. I'm like loving this one. I haven't touched this one since January 30th. So I've stitched on this project for the last 6 days as well. And this is, and please don't judge me. I broke 2 of my book stands, so I can't set my chart up in front of me on my little sewing table that I have down in my stitching area. And so I ripped my book apart. So here's Let Love Rain, Teresa Kogut. This is just a page out of the book. I'm sorry, I ripped my book. It's my book. I ripped it. I ripped the page out. I have to have it like right in front of me so I could see it. So I magnetized it, the chart. There's a page behind here and I magnetize it to my actual stitching, so I can see. I can just look up, look down, and I can stitch. So this is Teresa Kogut, Let Love Rain, and as of this morning, this is where we are with her. I wanted to do the border, and then I'm like, wait a minute, there's a house. I want to get to the house. So I went down underneath the words and started working from right to left. And I finished at the end of the page where that house is, so that's why it looks a little, you're only getting like probably a third of the house or a fourth of the house in there. But I got this much done in the last 6 days. So what I did was I filled in these flowers. I love these flowers. They're so pretty. I put these words in, and then I did this. This I just did in the last couple of days. So yesterday and today. So I am going to continue to stitch on this because I want to get that house done. I just can't leave the house as it is, right? I have to continue on. But because I do have Hawthorne Hollow Day is coming up on the 24th. So I'm going to pick that up on either the 24th or shortly thereafter, or before, just before. But we'll see how far I get in this. But I got to get Hawthorne Hollow work done because I didn't work on her last month. I was supposed to, stitching along with a coworker, so I should be following along and working along with my friends, right? So that is all of the cross stitching that I have done in the last 3 weeks. I have been obsessed with certain projects, and I can't get like that. I get like that. So I will probably continue to work on this for a while yet until I have to get up Hawthorne Hollow. So right now I'm going to do an Etsy update and talk about quilting. So if you're not interested, please, thank you for, sitting in this far along. And I don't foresee any new projects coming up in the quilting world. I mean, in cross stitch. However, there is one. So The Fat Quarter Shop every year does a stitch along and a quilt along for Halloween, and that comes up in June. I think this is starting on June 6th, if I'm not mistaken, and it is called Haunted Halloween. So I printed off what is needed for this. So it's got the stitch count and all the threads that are required, and so I'm going to probably stitch along with this when it does happen. So that is probably something that will come up in the future. I'm not sure if I'll have another video prior to this, so maybe my next update will be how far I've gotten with the first release of the mystery stitch along. So go to the Fat Quarter Shop. I'll put a link below so you can look up all of the details on that and see if you want to stitch along with us. And so now let's talk about my store updates. So I did a video shortly after my last one about kind of went, it wasn't what I was intending to do. I'm not sure what I was intending to do other than just probably just sit and chat and just sew along so you can see how I make a zipper pouch. And it was somewhat of a tutorial, but I just like to show you how I do things. So so if you're interested in making a purchase, you can see how I made the thing, so you know what quality was put into it, and I talk about why I do the things that I do and how I do the things that I do. So, and that was for this little zipper pouch, and it goes along with the project bag that I have made with this. It's not a vinyl bag, but just a regular bag. So I made this to go along with that. So if you do put both in your cart, you will get $5 off, and I will refund that to you after you have made your purchase. So this is front or back. It doesn't really matter. It depends on how you like to open it. I put my label on what I thought was the back, but it ended up being the front. But in my mind, because I open bags from left to right, so. And this is the inside. It's just a white on white fabric. It's got a blue zipper, red tassel. It all matches the same thing as the project bag. So it's a place to put your floss or all the accoutrements that you use, your floss biddies, your scissors, whatever, to carry along with you in that pouch. So, or you could buy it separately. You don't have to buy the two together, so that's fine. But there is that pouch that I made. And I did talk about how I was going to make this one next, and this is the one that I made next. And these are just out of little yard flags. So it's got a white zipper. Inside is a red and white buffalo check, and the back is a blue floral, and no tassel or anything on this. I don't know what to do with that. I don't have charms or anything like that to add to it. So but this here is about 12 inches long. I mean, it could be a good project bag. It's just a small 12 by 7, something like that. It'll hold a little project, a little freebie or something that you may have picked up along the way. So, but those are out there for sale. And then I worked on, so I have a lot of scraps left over. I make things out of a lot of vintage quilts. And I have a lot of scraps left over because there's a lot of the quilt that's not big enough to make anything of any substantial size. So there's little bits and pieces. And I wanted to do something a little organic, a little artsy-fartsy, if you want, so be it. But I did take some pieces of a double wedding ring quilt. That's these little squares right here that were good because, you know, some of them were really, this quilt was really, really in bad shape. So there wasn't a whole lot I could do with it, but there's a lot of little pieces. So I took and made a little flower out of it. The stem and the leaves are from another quilt. The stem is the binding and the leaves are from the border. And it is slip stitched all the way around each of the pieces. So they're on there very permanently. It has a muslin backing. It's just a muslin fabric on the back. I did put, did I put a batting in here? Yeah, I did put a batting in there. So there is a batting in between the two. And I also put a little hanger, these two pieces, little triangular pieces, and this does come with it as well. It is a 1/4 inch dowel, and you can hang it on your front door, on the hanger. You can hang it on your wall. It's just a 12 by 12 piece wall hanging. So this is for sale in my shop as well. And I may have more of these as I come across some little ideas on how to throw something together. But I was just trying to figure out how to use up some of those pieces. And I've seen some of these floating around now on Instagram. So I thought they were really cute. It is stitched. The background on this is a pinky, peachy, corally colored feed sack. And so I just organically just took that and made that as the backing, and it appliqued this to the top. Hand appliqued, so not machine. And then I just did a little stitch around the outside edge just to kind of, not like you can't get into it and see open seams or anything, but it kind of added a little bit of a border to it. So that is available in my shop as well. And now I've got a couple project bags. I got the Liberty fabric, and I believe I showed it in my last video. If I didn't, I will pop in some pictures of that. Otherwise, go back to my last video and you can take a look at it. But I did purchase a fat quarter and some yardage of some Liberty fabric. This here is a line called Copenhagen, I believe, and I call this my Liberty City bag. It's a vinyl bag. It is about 12.5 by 12.5 ish. So the zipper color matches the outline of all of the buildings. So it's like that. It's the same on the back and on the binding that I put on it. So that is for sale in my shop. And then I took, this was just some yardage. I love this fabric, so I just bought like a yard of this fabric. So I have more to make another. I didn't indicate that there were more than one available in the shop. So if you're interested in a bag and there's not one available on the shop, just send me a message and I can throw another one together, because I believe I have plenty for another one. So, but that's that bag. And then I ordered a small fat quarter bundle of some really pretty pinks and greens. So this next one is a green floral with a little pink center on it. And it's got a little teal, I would call that. That is a neon pink. So I did put a neon pink zipper on it. I thought I had enough of this fabric to also bind it in, but I didn't. So I used another pink floral. I have clips on it because I am hand stitching the bindings down on these. I did quilt the back panel in a 1-inch grid, and it is vinyl. The zipper. And so that's the inside. Get a closer look of it. It's really cute. This is very springy, very, very, very cutesy. So it'd be perfect for a nice spring little project that you might be working on, if that's what you use these for. Otherwise, if you can hold your quilt blocks in it, is another 12 by 12. So it'll hold like an 8-inch block, 6-inch blocks, that kind of thing. This should hold a good sized chart, as well as your 8 by 8 Q snap size project. So I still have to hand stitch to the back. I sewed all of the bindings to the fronts, folded over to the back, and I hand stitched them down. At least on this. On some of the others I do machine stitch. But this Liberty fabric, it's such a silky feel to it that I just didn't want anything to go wrong if I did a machine stitch on it, and it just didn't quite. I had to get a different needle for finer fabrics like this. It's very lightweight. Even with these clips on it, it is just really lightweight. And Very nice bag. When I was doing some stitching, I was stitching and watching the coronation one morning. And again, and I think this is when, you know, when the Queen died, I got Union Jack project box out. I love the Union Jack flag. I don't know why, but I have this like huge British thing. I watch all programming and all that kind of stuff. So, but I have several patterns, and I will link them below as to what and show you some of the blocks that I have made. But I've made like a block, and then I'm like, I don't know what to do with it now. Should I make a whole quilt? I, you know, wasn't exactly sure where I was going with it, but I had to make one, you know. So I've got, so this one here is called Victory Garden, and this is by the Busy Bee Quilt Designs, this pattern. So I've made some with this pattern. Not those fabrics, but yes, I've made this. I've used this pattern to make them. I've got this one, and this one's come from the McCall's Quilting magazine. It's from January, February 2014. It's called His Royal Union Jack. I downloaded this from somewhere. I'm not sure I'll be able to find it again, but if I can, I will post that. But I've made this block. This one's huge. It's a very large block. And then I wanted something a little bit smaller and a little bit different. And so I went and did some searching again, and I purchased a new pattern. And I have made a sample block from this. This is the Union Jack Heart. And this is from Full Bobbin Designs, and I got this on her Etsy shop. I believe she's in the UK, so I just did a download PDF. And again, I don't have a color printer. I don't have access to one. So everything I have is black and white, but I did purchase this, and I did make this block as well. So I have, so the big, oh, wait a minute. Maybe I didn't make the big one. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. So out of this pattern, I made this a long time ago. I made this one. And I had put a border on it, and I was going to make a pillow case out of it, and haven't done that yet. So I think I might finally finish that, and I might actually put this on my website to sell. So this has been in the making. I made this one quite a while ago, so I'm not sure how long ago, more than 3 years ago, because I think it was before I moved into this house. So I made that quite a while ago. And I did pick out a backing fabric, so I might just make a pillow cover out of it and put it for sale. But that is out of the Victory Garden. Now, out of this, his Royal Union Jack, I did make a block out of that. And that is this big one. It's really big. It's like 20 inches long. And I'm not real happy with it because all of the floral fabrics are on one side. So I may change one of the blocks out to make it look a little different, but I don't think I can, because if I like move this one over here, then all of the florals on that side. So this one here turned out a little lopsided, but it is made with Viva la France fabric. Shoot. Who makes French General? Sorry. How could I forget that? I have a layer cake and a jelly roll of this, and I've had this for a very long time. I got it prior to moving in the house, so it's more than 3 years old. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this. I might just rip it apart and make new blocks, these portions, these sections, and redo it. So, but I had, so here is, oh, sorry. I lost a train of thought here. Where is my pattern? So out of this heart one, it is foundation paper pieced. I did make this. And I did a couple things wrong. There is one fabric is got the back side on it up here for the background. And then I missed the red piece over here. So, but it was very simple to do. I was very pleased with how it turned out looking. So you might be seeing these in the future too, because I really enjoyed making this. This was fun. I do have other plans right now, but I think in not the near future, but sometime in the future, I may be making some more of these and doing something with those. So I really like that block. That was a lot of fun to do. And so out of the Victory Garden one, I have had a couple of these. I made them a while ago, sitting around. So within the last 3 years, because I think I made these when I moved here. So I used this pattern and made this one. And this one's got a brighter, whiter X fabric on it. But this is not a bad size. I like that. And I may be making something with that block. The other block that I made, I am making a project bag to sell. And that is this one. And this is the front. So I've got the zipper attached to the front panel. I did quilt it in a grid pattern. So it is a French General. The off-white fabric is the primitive muslin from Primitive Gatherings. It is a cotton fabric, not a muslin. So it's just primitive, meaning that it has got some modeling on it. So as you can see what that looks like. So that's the inside lining, but this is the front panel of my bag. And I'll be putting I've got the back panel made. I didn't use another flag. I used a patchwork. And I made this as the back of the bag. It looks large because I haven't cut it down yet, but I did quilt this as well. And so this is the inside lining of the back panel of the bag. And this will be on the back. I will be cutting this down to fit this because it is bigger than this, but that is going to be the back of the bag and the front of the bag. And then I'll put a binding on it. And I have a solid blue, this blue color that I'm going to put in it. So there's an up close look of the fabrics here. So I just grabbed jelly roll strips, sewed them all together, and then cut them into 2.5-inch strips once those pieces were all sewn together. And that's how I made the patchwork for the back. I just flipped them so that everything was just opposite each other. So that's all how that was put together. This one does have the lighter stripe down the center where I used a print for the other portion. So I may be making a bag out of this one as well, but with a lighter fabric. Maybe not. I don't know. I have to think about that. I let these things sit and ruminate. I watch them. I'm looking at them and I think about them all the time so I can figure it out. But they were just done with jelly strips. It's one of the fabrics there. I've got a lot of darker blues as well. So there is that. And I had a 10-inch square pack. So I've got quite a bit of these different options to choose from too. So, and all my scraps in here. But this is the primitive muslin. It's 100% cotton. So it's just some what I have left in there. I've got a little bit left. I don't even know if I have enough to do the lining on an entire bag. So I'm gonna have to purchase some more of that. Is some of Primitive Gatherings, like basic fabric. And it comes in multiple different colors, not just, this is the primitive, and then there's like honey, and then there's browns and oranges and whatnot. So I like that fabric, and I like to keep a lot of it on hand. So Yep, watch my Etsy shop. I'll even post this on Instagram and maybe on Pinterest that this is available when this is available. So another look up close. Yeah, French General. I love Union Jack blocks. I'm just enamored with it. I love it. Anyway, I'm in a red, white, and blue mode, I guess. So the other project I work on, the other quilting project, this is a shop update, basically, that Union Jack thing, but who knows, I might just make a quilt or some table toppers and some table runners and have those available. So the other quilt that I have been working on, I've been making my mother a quilt. I've been working on this for, I think, a little more than a year. I'm sorry to say. I went to JoAnn's one day and I picked up this magazine. And this is from last year. It was to be displayed until May of 2022. So I must have picked this up in April, maybe early May. So it's been at least a year that I've been working on this quilt. And my mother was paging through it. And she saw this quilt and she really liked it. It's called Lady of the Lake. And it is Lynn Goldsworthy is the designer of this. And it's done in pinks and greens and blues. Some other pictures of it. This one here. We are doing it in golds and aquas, teals. And this quilt is done in a 5x5 pattern, but it's all half square triangles. Really large ones, 8.5-inch unfinished squares and 2.5-inch unfinished squares. So I am making this for my mother. So if you've watched previous videos, I've shown other updates, and I have 3 rows completed, and they're all sewn together, and they're hanging on my design wall on the other side of the room. But I do have it covered up with other project. So, but I finished row 4 and I'm almost ready to start putting row 5 together. So let me make sure I have this in here. So this is row 4 is done and is put together, but it has not been attached to rows 1 through 3 that have been completed. We are doing a 7x7 layout. So I've got 3 more rows to do. So I'm working on row 5, almost ready to start putting those units together. I've got all of the golds together, and I had to make some more, cut some more teal aqua pinwheels. So I've got to get those together, and then I'll be ready to put that together. And I can't recall the fabric line. I will post below what all the information is, because I do have it on another video where we discussed it. So it's all scrappy. Each one is, not each one is different. This is kind of like the main one for the large, here, this is the main one for the large triangle. And then I'm throwing in some others, which are mostly laundry basket quilts. I have some Kim Deal fabric in here as well. So, and it's all different golds and aquas. So it is just, it's so pretty, and it matches her room so well. And I am just embarrassed that it's taking me this long to get it done. So I am pushing the envelope to get the other 3 rows completed, and then we could take it and lay it on the bed and see if it needs a border. And we have picked out a backing fabric, and we have purchased it, and I have 8 yards of this fabric that's going to go on the back. I don't have it handy to show you, but I will when we get to that point. So stay tuned. Mom, I'm working on it. And almost ready to do row 5. And then we only have 2 left after that, and then we can determine whether or not a border is needed so it fits the bed just right, or get ready to start quilting it. I can't wait. It's been too long. So there is a sew along going on, or a quilt along going on right now. With Susan Aki's book, Summer Memories. It's a basket quilt. And I really wanted to do it. However, funds are a little low, so I wasn't going to go out and purchase a fat quarter bundle of anything. And I'm like, you know what? I have a project box where I am making a basket quilt. 2-color one. I'm just going to sew my quilt along with them. So I got out my project box, and it is this pattern, just in yellow and white. It's kind of a creamy white. And I'm going to sew along and continue to make these. I had 11 of these done. It's been 3 years since I've made mine. I have, so I have like 11 of these done. I wanted the theme of my bedroom to be blue and yellow. And this was a quilt I wanted to have to either have a throw on my bed or make it as the main quilt on my bed. I'm not sure yet, with blue accents and whatever. So I haven't decided that yet, because I haven't even gotten to that room yet. As far as I haven't even gotten anywhere in this house with renovations. I hope to get started here really soon. I've got paint. All I have to do, and I've got all the things I need to do it. I just need to do it. So that's coming up. But I have 11 of these blocks. I do have one with all of the border pieces around it, so it is going to be off center, or actually I'm making it into rows, but the block is off center. So, and we'll be pointing in, I don't know which direction, to the left, whatever. So I do have borders on 2 sides of this one, and they'll just be sewn together with the other blocks, and I believe that's just how it's going to go along. So like this one would go this way, and they'll go that way in rows across. And so I'm just going to continue to make them. I have squares cut. It is a bright yellow. I guess it is a pretty bright yellow. But I've always wanted a 2-color quilt. This is the first one, or the second one I've owned. I had another blue one. I don't have that anymore. But so I've got this for the main body of the block. I've got all the little ones cut out. I just need to make the half square triangles for this. And the yardage for it. So it's just basics, Kona cottons, and I think I purchased it from the Fat Quarter Shop, all these colors. So hopefully, you know, I'm not going to purchase any more of the yellow and the white background. I'll just make however many blocks I can get out of it, and if it's big enough to fit my bed, it'll be the bed cover. Otherwise, it's just going to be a bed runner or a throw. I like large throws, but so we'll see. But so instead of starting a whole new project, I figured I'd just use that opportunity, since I want to do a basket quilt, and just continue to make mine instead of buying more stuff. I have a lot of stuff. I'm running out of room in this room, so I need to downsize a little bit. So that's my quilting update. I just pulled that box out, so I haven't made anything from it yet, but I will be working on that and stitching on it as I continue to finish the last 3 rows of my mother's quilt. So that's my update. I work the next 3 nights, and then I have several days off in a row, or nights off in a row, I should say, since I work overnights in a hospital. I work in the emergency room for Mayo Clinic, and it's been a little busy lately, so I don't know what that means, honestly, that I even put that out there, but I got 6 nights off in a row coming up pretty soon, but the next 3 nights I do work just to get that done. I work in 2 different hospitals, so for Mayo Clinic, so it's been interesting. I've only been doing the overnight thing for like a year now, and I'm starting to get a little used to it, but every now and again I have to throw in a day shift like yesterday. I worked at PM. So I'm all rested and good. I am going to do some things in my house. I've got, like I said, paint and things like that. So I've got some painting to do. So some little renovations going on in the home here in the near future, I hope. No guarantees, but I hope to have that to come to fruition here pretty soon. So I'm getting a little bit more motivated to do that kind of thing. So I thank you for hanging out this long. And it is only 46 minutes. So this is a much shorter video, and I appreciate you being here. Thank you for being here. And subscribe, like, comment. I am always excited when I hear bells go off and somebody's made some comments either in my Etsy shop or sent me an email or on YouTube. I'm always thrilled with that. So, and making new friends. So if you're in the area too, let me know. Maybe we can meet up someday and have a stitching day together or a quilting day together or something of that nature. So either that or I'll do lives where we're just stitching together or sewing together, something. So oh, I do want to mention one more thing. I am so sorry. That Haunted Halloween stitch along, like I said, has also a quilt along, and every year I do that for the last 2 years. I didn't bring the previous 2 years with me. I apologize for that. I had every intention of doing that, but so I printed off the requirements for the next quilt along. It's a mystery, so I don't know what it is. But I did also pull out my Halloween / fall fabrics to see if something's going to work. So I don't know what it is yet. I'll put a link below. There's like a little thing here that'll show you. This is a little circular thing with a bat in it and then some stars. So I'm a little excited. I like the stars. I love the bat. So I wasn't as 100% thrilled with my finished project from last year. However, I do love the project. Just not so sure I like my version of it. So I haven't finished it off. I made the top, and that was the last I did with it. I didn't touch it again. So my next video, if I'm not sure if it'll be out before, I think June 6th this starts. So if I have another video before then, I probably won't have another update until after this so long has started. So, and then I'll bring in my other 2 to show you, or I'll take pictures and pop them in here for you to look at. So again, thanks, and I apologize for that final interruption. My brain. I love you all. Have a fabulous day, and happy belated Mother's Day. Bye now.